everyone, it's Pam from Sell Crafts by Pam, and I am back with another Craft Your Stash Thursday where I encourage you to follow along and craft your stash. Let me just turn my volume down. I was listening to myself for a second. I don't want to do that. So just to kind of continue what we've been doing the past few weeks, I have this Craft Your Stash checklist that's available in the description box below for free from my website. All you have to do is make an account and just download it for free. And the past few weeks, we've been working our way through the list. So we've used the supply we've never opened, created with only 3 colors, and today is mix 2 different stamp sets. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not very thoroughly planned out for tonight, but I did grab a couple stamp sets, kind of cheating because they're from the same brand. They don't necessarily coordinate together, but they easily go together. Now, normally when I would think of using 2 different stamp sets, I might pull like some Lawn Fawn stamp sets and mix and match their stamp sets to make scenes. Or what I do in my regular card making, I just think of a card that I need, and then I go through my stash on Color My Life and just find the stamps I want to use regardless of brand or, if they're part of one collection or anything like that. But today, like I said, I feel like I'm cheating a little bit because they do go together in the sense that they're the same brand. Um, but I'm going to go for a mixed media type card today. So I guess it's fine that I'm kind of winging it because mixed media can be messy. So I'm just seeing if we have anybody in here so I can say hi. Hi to everyone that is joining. As you join in, just drop in and say hi. Let me know that you can hear me okay. I know there were some issues in the past with the volume on my computer. I literally have a microphone in my face. Um, I'm not going to show you that right now because I'm like literally in my pajamas, but I have a microphone in my face, so I'm hoping that the sound will continue to be okay. Um, I maneuvered it a little bit from last week. There's not really too much else I think I can do to make the sound louder. There may be some background noises. As I've stated before, I am in the basement of my house. I have my noise canceling headphones on, so I can't really hear any of the other noise, and that way I don't get distracted. But yeah, so let's just go ahead and get started. So the company that I'm going to be working with today is called Rubber Necker Stamps, and they actually have a new name, and I forget what it is. Yeah, I'm not sure what the name of their new stamp company is. Maybe one of you might know, but they changed the name of their company. And I was introduced to them from the Scrapbook Expo that I went to in Edison. So every year they have really great classes. And so one of the classes was this watercolor, like faux watercolor technique that I really enjoyed. So I kind of stocked up on some of their watercolor stamp sets, some of these border backgrounds that you can use along with it. I'll give you a sneak peek of what I was kind of working on before. You can see here my brush fell on my paper, so that was great. But this is kind of like the idea of what I'm going with, but it might be a little bit neater because I have like smudges and stuff here and there that I didn't want to have there, but I kind of worked with it anyway. So let me just fix some things on my computer real quick so that I can see the chat. Alright, see now you're going to hear the bubbling sound in the background. It's okay, it's my heat. It's not my water heater, but it's my other heater. Alright, so the first stamp set I picked out to work with today is this lotus flower from Rubbernecker Stamps. Like I said, they changed their name and some of these stamps are also not available anymore, but I'm crafting my stash. I'm using what I have in my stash. Now, you could easily replicate this using what's in your stash. Um, and I'll talk about different ways that you can use your own stamps that you have and try to replicate it yourself. So first, what I'm going to be using is I have this felt paper from Nina, and Rubbernecker introduced it to me when they did their class. It has more of like a texture on it. It's like a watercolor paper, but I guess it's felt. But there's one side that's more textured, and there's one side that's a little bit smoother, just um, like distressed watercolor paper. I haven't tried these stamps with distressed watercolor paper, but I would assume that they would act the same way. So I'm going to use a smooth side. So if you're using distressed watercolor, I would probably use the smooth side. And I think what I want to start off with is the border around my image, so I know where to place my flower image inside. I think. Maybe I'll start with my flower first. Okay. So in this stamp set, there's two different stamps. There is a floral outline image, and then there is a floral fill-in image. Now, with this, what you could do, if you have an outline image that you want to faux watercolor like I am doing here, you can turn over your stamp, ink it up, and use the background of it. I haven't tried that, but I'd imagine that it would go fine. You may get some staining on your stamp, but that's not going to affect, you know what, I don't know, because if I stamp this like this, then my flower is like that, and if I turn it over, my flower's going to go in the other direction. What you could do also, let's see, did I pull it? I have a watercolor set, and on the watercolor set, it just basically has a bunch of like solid images of different like watercolor streaks. If you wanted, you could also use something like that to fill in your stamp. You don't have to have the exact stamp to fill it in. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. So I have these as well. So I could easily just use these to fill in the color of the flower and do like a faux watercolor. Now I'll go ahead and show you what I mean by faux watercoloring, but like I said, if you don't have a stamp that's like this where it has the two parts with a lined image and then a solid image, use something like this to fill in your images with watercolor. So let me start with making sure we're on the right side. And then I'm going to, I have a block somewhere here. Here it is. I'm going to back out just a little bit. Okay. Oops. Like mixing things up on my screen right now. Here we go. Okay, now I can see if you chat. Okay, So I'm going to go ahead and place this on acrylic block. And you could do this two different ways. You could use an acrylic block and go for a more organic stamping, or you could use a Misty to get more of an imperfect stamping, and I'm going to go for more organic with this. So I need something that's going to be waterproof. So I have a couple of inks here. I have my VersaFine Clair, which takes a little bit to dry because it's a pigment ink. So I decided I wasn't going to use that. And then I have these archival inks. One's just an archival one, and one is distress, meaning it's one of the distress colors, black soot. This one's jet black. Doesn't really matter which one you use. They're both archival and waterproof. So I'm going to ink up my flower stamp. So this is the first stamp we're using. So remember, we're using two different stamp sets. Now I want to keep in mind that I want room for a sentiment, and I'm going to go kind of toward this bottom right hand corner for my sentiment. So for my flower, I'm going to try to get it like right in the middle of the paper, and then just push down. Give the ink a chance to soak in. I moved it. Did I move it? Nope, I didn't. All right. So there it is. So that's pretty on its own. You could just leave it like this and then do some faux or do some actual watercoloring to fill it in. But I'm going to do some faux watercoloring. So next I'm going to take that stamp off and I'll put the solid stamp on. And these are the colors that I picked out from Catherine Puller. They are, what do you call it? They work with water. Hi Shanna, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Sparkling Berry from Catherine Puller. And I'm just going to apply the ink right onto my stamp set like you normally would, but I'm doing it just to the flower at the top, or at least I'm trying to. And then I'm going to tape Lime Ricky and do the bottom leaf part. Now I could stamp this as it is, but one, it's going to be imperfect. Two, it's going to be really pretty solid. So what I want to do to make it have like a watercolor effect is I'm going to spray it with some water. So I'm just going to take this to the side and spray it a few times. I'm going to get it pretty wet. So this is about how wet I have it. And then I'm going to get a paper towel actually, because I want to make sure that this doesn't drip where I don't want it. So I'm just going to get some of the drips off so that while I'm placing it, it doesn't fall off where I don't want it. And then I'm just going to flip it, line it up with that stamp the best that I can, and then I'm going to just push this down. Give the water and the color a chance to soak into the watercolor paper or the felt paper. And then I'm going to lift up. And I've got this faux watercolor look. And I wanted to add some of this flirty fuchsia. So I'm just going to dry this real quick. So just excuse the noise. And I'm going to wipe this off. And I'm going to do some of my flirty fuchsia. And I'm just really just tapping it lightly. I don't really want it to cover up all of that sparkling berry. So I'm going to give it a good spray. And even pat some of this off. So that only gets some of it. And try to wipe off the leaves in case there's some that dripped. Hi Candy, welcome. You're more than welcome to sit here and craft with me. I love it. I am here to keep you company. Alright, so I'm going to try aim this the same way I did before. I'm just do it quickly. And then I'm going to go ahead and heat set that. So then we've got that stamp colored in. So the next thing I want to do is I wanted to create some white text over this. So I have this stamp set from Rubbernecker Stamps called, it's organic. Yeah, it's an exclusive organic set that was from the Scrapbook Expo. So I think they just kind of like mixed a bunch of different stamps that they either have or I don't know what they did. Or they just made this especially for the class. But what I really liked here is this text here for doing a mixed media look. And then I liked this one for our sentiment. So I'm going to go ahead, and I already have it on a block, the text. And I'm going to use some white ink. And when I did this the first time, I did it two different ways. So here, I just inked it up and then stamped it right onto the flower. Over here, I stamped off one and then put it down on the flower. So some of it you can see better than the other. You're not really meant to see it. It's just going to just kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Just give some extra interest to the flower. So I'm going to stamp, and I want to try to stamp off and then stamp onto. Okay. And I'm just going to go there. I'm going to do it one more time on the other side. Okay, So again, on this side, you didn't really see it too much, but that is okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I have two things. I am going to add my border to it, and I'm also going to add some black splatters. So I think what I might start with is, I think, the border. So for that, I have 3 different borders here. So when I did this sample, when I was just playing around, I used this one, which is called Freehand Border. Then I have a distress frame, and then I have this 3-line frame. So I am going to do, I think, I really like this one, but because it has dots, I think it might be a little bit excessive if I do the splattering of the black. So I think I want to do the distress one. Alright. So I'm just going to align this up in this little rectangle that I have on my glass mat. And again, I'm going to use that archival ink, and I'm just going to ink up the edges. Just go around a few times to make sure it's inked up pretty well. And then I'm actually going to stand up and place this right over. I have to move some things here. Okay, so I'm just going to push around the edges. Last time, this is where I got a little bit of black ink on my image because I had ink in the middle of the stamp, but I made sure not to do that this time. And then I'm going to pick it up, and then we've got this nice little border. So next I'm going to go in with some black splatters. And I have Dr. P.H. Martin's black star that I use anytime I do black splatters. So I'm just going to put it on this little acrylic block. I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. And then I like to use a fan brush anytime that I do splatters. So I'm just going to dip that into my black. And then tap against my finger. Until I feel like I have enough. And actually I might be quiet because I moved my mic a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. I'll just clean up just a little bit. Sorry if you can hear some weird sounds. I'm just fixing the location of my mic. Alright, so now what I want to do is my sentiment. I'm just going to clear some of this black off so it doesn't get where I don't want it. If you do it right away, a little bit of water does just fine. Okay. So this is my sentiment, thinking of you. And I'm actually going to be sending this to a friend who's been kind of having a hard time. Just to let her know I'm thinking about her. And I'm just going to go along with what we've been doing all night with the freehand stamping. And again, I'm going to have to get right over this. And just stamp that down, hold it, let the ink seep into the paper. If it doesn't come out perfect, that's fine. It goes with the rest of the card panel. That actually came out pretty good though. So I could finish this off in two ways. I could cut down like maybe 1/8 of an inch around each side and then put some cardstock around the edge. But I think I want to leave it just like this. A nice, simple, flat card. So, other than putting it on a card base, that is that card. Now, I wanted to try again doing it the way that I told you before, that we could use a watercolor splatter set to fill in the stamp in case you don't have a stamp that has the outline and the filler. So we're going to put this to the side to dry. And I've got another sheet of that Nina felt cardstock. I'm going to remove this from my block. Wipe down my block. And we'll start with our outline. So let's ink this up with our, I think was it black soot that I chose? Yep. And then stamp this as much in the center as I can get it. Okay. Now I have some of these organic like water splatters to choose from to fill in my flower. Now this one I feel like would go with like the stem pretty well. Let me pick that one. So I could do this, maybe just do green on half of it. Spray this off to the side. And then try to get that right on the stem. And let it soak in. Okay. Just trust the process. Now, I think I'm going to go with some smaller splatters. To fill in the flower. I could have gotten this a little bit over to the left, but that's okay. So I'm just going to ink this up and then spray it. And just start filling it in. Start with the middle. And then maybe do another one. Switch this out. Stamp it up. Water it up. And I think going with one more. Ink that up. Spray it. I'm going to do this one kind of like right here. Okay. And go ahead and dry it. I think I'm going to keep it like that. So it has a different look than our other one. But still kind of the same concept as you're using a stamp to faux watercolor in the image. And just to go back to our theme of tonight, which is mix two different stamp sets, so that's exactly what we're doing with this one. This one we did the two stamp sets that go together, and then we did some of the text stamp and the sentiment stamp from a different set. But this, we're actually using the flower from one set and then all these watercolor images from another stamp set. So that's more of my challenge with this card than with this one. So I'm going to go ahead and add some text again. So I just have to find my white ink. And this time I'm going to just stamp it on without stamping off. I hope this is right side up. I'm not sure. No, it's definitely upside down. But who's gonna know? See, I kind of like that more, that you can see it. But hopefully, now that you can see it, you can't You can't tell that it's upside down. It's the only thing with text stamps like this. You really gotta look at it. Make sure you're not stamping it upside down. I know I've done that like once or twice when I've done text stamps like that. Alright, now we're gonna do the border again. I'm gonna go with a different border this time, because I think what I'm gonna do is not do the black splatters on this one. So I'm gonna just put this in the center here. And since it's such a big stamp, I figure it's easier to stamp it backwards like this than to try to lift it and put it onto my panel. So I'm going to go around the edges like I did before. And I see a few more people popping in. So just want to remind you that we are doing a challenge every week for 52 weeks, the whole year. We're going to craft our stash, and each week we have a theme. So for today's theme, it is use 2 different stamp sets together. And this is that Crafter Stash handout that I created that's in the description box below, and it is available on my site to print for free. So be sure to take advantage of that. Okay, I'm gonna stand up for this again. Okay, so there is that. And like I said, I think I'm going to not do the black splatters, but I am going to do that sentiment again. Use our archival ink. I have thinking of you. So let's just take a look at the 2 that we created. We'll say that this is number 1 and this is number 2. And if you'd like to, just pick your favorite and tell me in the chat which one you like better, whether it was the one that came with the flat image to stamp on the flower, or if you like the one where we use watercolor images to fill in our flower. I can't decide which one I like more. I actually like both of them for different reasons. But if you're in our replay group, you can go ahead and let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. But that is pretty much it for today. I know I'm kind of early signing off, but again, like last week, I have dinner waiting for me. It seems to be the theme every week now. So, again, get your Crafter Stash download. It's completely free. You just have to make an account on my website and then download it for free. And then don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. And I will be back next Thursday with our next theme, which will be use a stencil you haven't tried yet. So I will be probably completely winging it then, if I'm using a stencil I haven't tried. But I'll have an idea of what I'm going to go with when I get started. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye!